We leave St George and head directly west towards Cunnamulla. We're going to be staying in Cunnamulla for the night, then we'll move on to Innaminka, then stay there a night, then down to Arkaroola, we'll stay there a night, and then we'll move on to Hawker. But we're just going to, in this video, we're going to try and make it to Arkaroola. We head out of St George and across the bridge over the Balone River and onto the bitumen. And it's bitumen all the way from St George to Innaminka. But the amazing thing I found with this road, it was a good road. Sometimes it did narrow down, but it was a change in scenery. We started off with like cotton fields, then we go to red dirt, then we go to bushland, and then we go to just rocky flat plains. You know, it was amazing how quickly the scenery changed. Kangaroos and emus are always in the back of your mind when you're riding a motorcycle, but when the bush gets a bit too close to the road, you tend to slow down. But here are a couple of friendly emus that get a little bit too close. We arrived in Cunnamulla and headed down the main street and found the Cunnamulla Hotel, which is where we were going to stay for the night. But I forget the reason now, but the hotelier wouldn't let us in till 4:30, and we sort of arrived around about 2 o'clock. So we had a cruise around town and we found the Cunnamulla fella, made famous by Slim Dusty. So got a few pictures with him. We settled into the Cunnamulla Hotel and went down for a few beers in the bar, and then we had a nice home-cooked lamb shanks, curried lamb shanks. They were very nice. So we pulled out of Cunnamulla and we head for Thargomindah. A lot of people were heading for Thargomindah because there was a big event for a shearing contest. We got there and we rode into the sort of the showgrounds where this shearing contest was happening. The whole town was there, and dropped the bikes off and walked in, and yeah, they wanted $30 to get in, and we weren't that keen on the shearing, so we turned around and jumped on the bikes and headed out of town. We needed fuel, so we headed to the local service station and filled the bikes up with fuel. While we were there was a couple of guys riding vintage sort of motorcycles. One was a WLA Harley, and the other one was a 500 side valve BSA single. I thought it was pretty brave of these guys to do a trip like that on such old machines, but they did have a backup vehicle, but they were going along okay, having fun.
left here, then right. Yep. Half a litre of water with
So we headed out to Arkaroola and headed off to Innaminka. The thing that I really like about this track, it's good bitumen road, but it was just, like I said before, the changing scenery, it's amazing, you know. See, the track that now narrows down to basically a single track really, but hardly anybody's on it. You know, there's not many people go along this track. You get a few grey Nelbads come along with their caravans. Yeah, I love this scene, you know, it looks like pyramids rising out of the desert, but just so flat, nothing there, red dirt, blue skies, oh, beautiful outback countryside. We were 17 k's out of Innaminka when we came across the turnoff to the Birkenwills dig tree. So we diverted onto the dirt road to go down and have a look. Now the Birkenwills expedition was started in 1860, where a group of men set off to get to the Gulf of Carpentaria, and they came to the Cooper's Creek, and half the party stayed at this spot and then headed north. Birkenwills and two others headed north to the Gulf of Carpentaria, which they got to, and then returned. But the group that had been left behind were waiting a month for Birkenwills to arrive, which they didn't arrive. So they basically gave them up as dead, and unfortunately 9 hours later Birkenwills arrived at the dig tree. The party that had left had carved a sign into the dig tree to tell the guys to dig for supplies, but unfortunately Birkenwills and one of the others died, and only one guy survived. He was picked up by Aborigines. So it's an amazingly sad story that happened at this spot in the early days. We rode over the Cooper's Creek Bridge on our way to Innaminka. Now, Innaminka was only, the turnoff for Innaminka was only 17 kilometres up the road. So we got there, we turned right on our way to Innaminka. See Innaminka down the road with the large radio tower standing out. So we turned into the Innaminka village. They generate their own power, their own water, make their own water. They've got a service station, they've got a motel and restaurant, they've got a general store. Quite a handy little place out here in the outback. So we stopped and filled all our tanks up with fuel, because tomorrow was a big run to from Innaminka to Arkaroola, which was 406 kilometres, which was outside my fuel range, so I had to fill up my spare tank as well. Immediately got into the bar and had a few cold beers, which was very nice. And the next day I had a full breakfast. It was going to be a long day. The next day we got up, ready to go to Arkaroola, and started off having that beautiful breakfast you just saw. And we got onto the Strzelecki track and headed south down to towards Arkaroola. The Strzelecki track, it's quite a long track, and it services Moomba as well, but it's kind of an odd track really. It's dirt, and then out in the middle of nowhere you get this beautiful bitumen road, and then that disappears. Then we got on bitumen again, and the rains that it had recently in the trucks had just chewed up all the bitumen. There was a lot of areas that were damaged and washed away. But we got back onto the dirt again, and then looked for the Mount Hopeless turnoff, which was going to take us to Arkaroola, the Mount Hopeless Road.
Yeah, I can't understand why they put that bitumen up in the middle of Prospect nowhere. Yeah, and it's so nice. But you can see it only took maybe one or two trucks to completely wreck it. They just kept going. Okay, we're just entering the Mount Hopeless Road, heading to Arkaroola.
The Mount Hopeless Road from Strzelecki track to Arkaroola was aptly named, in my opinion. It was a more difficult track for the Africa Twin. It was sandy, it was rocky, it was washed out. Here comes a sandy spot right now, and yeah, the Africa Twin and I were not big fans of sandy dirt tracks. So we got through it okay, we didn't come off. But you can see the washed out bits there, you know. You did get hard grader surfaces with sort of dried, crumbly mud on it. The bike was getting low on fuel, so I pulled over and topped her up. But yeah, my range is 320. We have to do 406 kilometres from Innaminka to Arkaroola. So yeah, just pulled over and put some of the fuel in my spare tank into the tank.
fuck. Fuck. Oh shit. Steve. You can hear me? What's up, Steve?
Oh, hit the ground hard, mate.
You feel you're alright?
Maybe my shoulder.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. The main thing is you're alright, or do you think you don't feel like you've broken a bone or anything?
Bloody shoulder got bloody hit hard. Here's where it happened. Probably hit that rut. Spun out here and then threw me into there.
Well, we're going straight on, aren't we? You tootle off, Steve, slowly. I'll catch up to you in a sec.
You know, guys, it's kind of frustrating riding along that road, you know, virtually what looked like a normal sort of dirt road at 59 k's, and then the back end just slid out in a millisecond. I was in the air and on the deck. Looking at it, you know, it was sort of dried mud on hard grading, and I may have helped myself if I'd have been standing up, but I personally can't stand. I'm not going to stand up for the hundreds of kilometres on these dirt roads. So I do sit down. I normally sort of stand up when I get the corners, but I think that may have helped if I was standing up. But whichever way you want to look at it, fortunately it was an injury that I could get back on the bike and ride. Okay, I broke my shoulder in 3 places, but to be honest, once I got on the bike and my arms on the handlebars, you never hold your handlebars that tight, it wasn't too bad. You know, it was only when your arm went up above your shoulder, like I couldn't take my helmet off, it was just too painful. But yeah, got on the bike, and yeah, we had like 160 k's to go to Arkaroola. That was okay. The biggest problem was that if I came off again, that would have been a serious problem. But fortunately, I got to Arkaroola okay.
Lindman 126. We definitely have to go that way. I've got it enlarged that much now that whichever way I move, I'll see when we're going on the track. Why wouldn't it have the Arkaroola village? Not one word. Well, that's the track to the village.
Riding this last part of the track into Arkaroola wasn't much fun. There was a four-wheel drive in front kicking up the dust. The sun was directly in front of us, and there was no wind, and the dust was just hanging around. But you could hardly see as we were riding into the sun.
No wind down here. You're disabled, you're allowed to park here.